Knowledge for everyone. Disclaimer. If anyone says, "Here is my initial coin offering," or "This is the coin that does this," please tell them to go away. Want to know how to change the world? It starts with money, because money binds people together whether they want it or not. Denarius, wen, rupiah, pound, or dollar. The power of a common currency binds enemies and friends alike. The great lie that lives in the heart of our current financial system is that there is no other way. When our billionaire jailers say the only way to improve is to take this loan and repay us not in your money, but in dollars or yuan, they are binding your wrists with paper manacles. What is the pathway to freedom? The first step is understanding how and why the system of financial bondage was created. When the Americans and Europeans designed the new world order after World War II, they laid the foundation with a new financial system. On the surface, the countries from around the world met at Bretton Woods to collaboratively design a global financial system that would act as the primary glue to avoid another world war. But who actually wrote the rules? Rich countries wrote them to your detriment. The idea that trade binds people together is true, but the lie that corrupted that truth is that it must be based on national currencies. And that lie gives Washington or Paris or Beijing the power to force you and your children into bondage. Don't believe me? Oil is paid for in dollars. IMF or World Bank debt traps are repaid in euros and dollars and yen. You cannot pay using your money, and when you exchange it, you must pay twice as much because they say it is now worth half what it used to be. Can you see the bars of your cage, the edges of your cell? The way to break free is to throw away the very idea that select national currencies must be the basis of currency exchange and use a universal currency instead, and to build free access to basic knowledge that everyone has a right to know into that universal currency. Foundational knowledge, like how to build a road that doesn't wash away when the rains come, how to drill a water well that doesn't poison our children, or how to write a just contract that doesn't risk giving our farms to a rice broker, creates a pathway so no one is utterly trapped in bondage. Knowledge created this prison, so knowledge is also the means to tear it down. When universal access to knowledge is tied to money, everyone has the means to free themselves. Universal currency. The reason to tie foundational knowledge to money is that money cuts across all of society more than any other institution. The rich cannot exist without artificially creating the poor, and money is the tool they use. So if we want to perpetually counterbalance the natural instinct of the powerful to capture institutions, we must embed the means to break free from the iron law of oligarchy into money itself. Or, more specifically, tie foundational knowledge into the infrastructure of value exchange. Foundational knowledge is the basic knowledge that every human being ought to have access to, such as how to maintain a high level of health and hygiene, what is needed to grow economically, how to apply for a visa, knowing the laws of my own country, and what is legal versus merely expected. It is access to truth for all people that is not filtered through literacy or trust. Foundational knowledge will be available through a voice-based AI designed solely to provide practical knowledge whether one holds a wallet or not. It will not write a secondary school paper on Hamlet or reveal the trade secrets of a multinational corporation. But with endless patience, it can help an illiterate farmer call from a flip phone and learn, step by step and in their own language, how to build a water wheel from locally available materials to irrigate their crops. It establishes a floor of practical, common knowledge that anyone can use to improve their life with the resources available to them. Its goal is to break one of the primary tools of oppression, the lies that keep us impoverished and dependent. Turning concept into reality. The way to tie universal access to foundational knowledge to money is to build it directly into how money works. Starting with a fork of Ethereum, a special version can be designed so every time people use it, the off-chain knowledge for everyone layer is funded, particularly everything needed to run and access the voice-based AI, while continuing to fund validators at a slightly lower return. However, to make sure the powerful do not corrupt or restrict access to the foundational knowledge layer, the system continuously checks for accessibility. If access degrades over time or persistently fails, the system shifts money away from validators into technical solutions. That penalty broadens and strengthens over time until the fault is resolved. A portion of fees is also dedicated to foundational knowledge expansion. Knowledge providers submit new knowledge and the new ideas are validated before common use to ensure ideas are truthful, accurate, safe, and useful. Everyone's contributions are remembered and rewarded when used. When knowledge builds on older work, value is shared with those whose ideas helped create the new knowledge, with a lifetime maximum reward. Governance. Who decides what belongs in this shared body of knowledge? Not a permanent council of experts. That work belongs to attesters, and any person or organisation can become one. Attesters are chosen at random. A strong record makes someone more likely to be selected, but part of the work is always reserved for newcomers, so authority never becomes a closed club. They test new knowledge against the evidence, make sure it works in the place and language where it will be used, and watch one another and the technology that holds the system together. When providers, challengers, or attesters disagree, referees are randomly chosen and paid to resolve the dispute. What stops the system from becoming a garbage engine? Consequences. Honest mistakes can be corrected, but careless work costs people funding and standing. Lying, fraud, collusion, or knowingly dangerous knowledge can cost someone their rewards, their role in the system, and, in the most serious cases, part of the value they put at risk to participate. The greater the harm and intent, the greater the penalty, with the harshest punishments requiring overwhelming agreement. If the entire system is ever captured, users retain one final power. They can leave together, create a clean version of the money, and shut the colluders out. Who watches the watchers? Everyone does. Any person can challenge any part of the system. If a challenge exposes a real failure, the challenger is rewarded from the value placed at risk by those responsible and from a shared bounty pool. Everyone trusted with authority must put something at risk, and serious abuse can cost them access to the system for a time. Governance cannot become a permanent ruling class. Board members are chosen at random from the users, must earn broad support from stakeholders, and are paid to serve fixed terms. Their primary duty is to watch the AI that distributes funds and make sure it follows the rules. They also hear final appeals before returning that authority to the next board. By the people, for the people. What gives money value? What gives a government authority? What allows any institution to endure? We do. The global system, the country where you live, and the community around you are not forces of nature. They are human agreements maintained by law, habit, fear, and the belief this is the way of the world. The powerful need you to feel voiceless, and these lies are how they silence you. They need you to believe that you are too insignificant to matter, and that there is nothing you can do to change this world. We did not choose the world we inherited, but together we can choose whether it remains the only world possible. Knowledge for everyone does not wait for permission from a government, billionaire, bank, or international institution. It begins with me and you. One person shares what they know, another tests it, another challenges a lie, another chooses to exchange value through a currency built around freedom instead of dependence. Each person makes the system a little more real. No single person can create a new world alone, but together we can. Change starts with you wanting a new world, by the people, for the people. Knowledge for everyone. Lena Barakat.
Author's note. Thank you for listening to this background video on Mina's star. This series will provide detailed background on how the novel's systems work, as well as the perspective of its characters, starting with the charter. This novel began as a response to two troubling global trends. The first is the growing comfort with nuclear appeasement. The second is the steady rise of global political violence. Through this story, I wanted to explore the dangers of both while offering a possible path forward through the idea of the charter, a political framework built to redefine what a state can be. If you have listened this far, thank you. Please consider liking or subscribing to help this story and its message reach more people.